You've got everything. And have a look. The beginning and the reading is basically bookended by two aces. Beginnings, right? And what it feels like this week is the seed gets sown. Whatever it is that you've been planning to begin, this is the week to go for it. So we have the Ace of Pentacles. And like I said, it's the seed that we plant. And I see this card like the sun. I always see it as the minor arcana version of the sun. Why is that? Because the sun shows us the potential for great happiness. The same way a seed holds that potential. I mean, you could, I don't know, grow a tree out of it, right? But that tiny little seed holds the potential of that. And that's what this week feels like with the Ace of Pentacles coming in. Now, that doesn't mean it's something brand new. The aces are brand new cycles that begin, but they are yours. What I mean by that, that's your seed that you're planting. That's your truth that's coming in there. Your ideas, your beliefs. So the aces always begin with us. I know it kind of looks like there's a hand being offered to us, offering this gift to us. And it is a gift. But the gift is the opportunity to start something new, to do something new. And the Ace of Pentacles, it's one where, this could last a lifetime. What begins this week, it could be with you for a very long time. Now, I don't think it's something willy-nilly that you've been just not, you just think, oh, that'd be great, and just do this. The reason I'm saying that is because the Two of Wands is here. You've been trying to pick a direction for a while now, right? And it feels like finally you're ready to go. But what I love here is the Knight of Cups coming up at the heart of the reading. Now, I say this all the time. The Knights have a very bad reputation, but I think that's because people expect them to be like the kings and queens. It would be like, seeing a teenager or a young adult and expecting them to have all the knowledge and, the same responsibilities as someone, say, in their 50s or 60s. They're just not going to. And that's the same with the Knights. They have their own job. They have their own mission that they're on. They always indicate progress and movement. And so the Knight of Cups, what does he do? He follows his dreams. He follows his heart. Have a look at this. He's very focused on his cup. He's not even really controlling where the horse is going. Even the bloody horse isn't looking where it's going. It's kind of just walking around. But this is very much about, I know how I want to feel. I know what the dream is. Don't know how I'm going to get there. Don't have a plan to get there. I just know this is how I want to feel. That's why he's called the kind of delusional romantic sometimes, or the dreamer. But I mean, I think Capricorn got the Knight of Cups too. But I did Capricorns yesterday, so can't be too sure on that. But someone got this, and that's what I was telling them as well. That as we get older, or we have these kind of experiences, we become cynical. Even dreaming becomes, if it feels like a risk to dream something, because it feels like you're setting yourself up for failure or for heartache or for pain, or, our expectations are not going to be met. So it's very brave to be able to dream. I know a lot of people don't see that. I do see that as it. And so whatever this seed is, it's being powered, and you're being asked. If it's not, if you're looking to start something, if you're looking for a change in your energy, and, this is very practical energy, right? Long-term security, long-term stability. This is the job I should do. This is the house I should live in. This is the relationship I should be in. A lot of shoulds there, right? The Knight of Cups is, what do I want? I don't want to feel. And that's what's kind of this whole thing feels powered by. And if it's not, I would urge you to make sure that your dreams are backing this. Because this reading feels very much about, it's almost as if you're laying down roots. Now, I don't care if you've been living in the same house for 20 years or you've been in that relationship for 40 years. That's, we can still feel adrift and like we don't have any security or stability. But this is different. This is following a dream. And it may be a dream that you've been considering for quite a while, because we have the Two of Wands coming up here. And this is where the Two of Wands, as much as it does talk about a decision, as much as it does talk about taking action, and, it's walking the walk, not just talking the talk. While we're stood there trying to contemplate and decide which direction to go in, there is no movement. All we know when we get to this point is, all right, I've been down a path. I know, I can't go back, and I don't want to go back down that path. Something new is ahead. Which direction do I go in? Now, there's never a wrong choice. What the Two of Wands urges you to do is to do something that you've not done before. It's wands, right? Take some action. So I always remind people when this card comes up, is if you keep doing what you did, you're going to keep getting what you got. Simple as that. Now, that if you're happy with what you're getting, keep going down that path. If you want a new experience, then you have to do something different, right? Go somewhere new, have a different to get that different experience. So this feels like maybe you didn't, you've been standing here for a while. And I'm going to say this, not making a decision is also a decision. That's a choice. We choose not to make a decision. I don't know which way to go, that procrastination maybe, or, I could pick it. Sometimes we pick the direction, but we don't actually walk down it. Which, was it worth picking it then if we're not actually doing anything about it? So I like this. Planting the seed, letting your dreams kind of water it almost, right? With that Cups energy. And it's based off a decision. Now, I kind of feel like that decision was made in theory here. The practice comes in now because we have the Emperor coming up in the present. This is taking control of a situation. Think about the Emperor. Yes, again, all the cards have this kind of upside and downside, a darker energy and a lighter energy, a high vibration or a low vibration. And every single human being in the world does as well. We all have those. And so where the Knight of Cups urges us to dream and to follow our dreams and how we want to feel, right? And it can be something that's offered to us. This very much could be, maybe you've been waiting. You made a decision, but you've been waiting for an offer to come in. That could very much be this. But if you've not, you'd know what that is. If that's your message, then you very specifically know what it is. Because with the Ace of Wands before, because think about it, with the aces coming up, there's the implication, or it's implied that we've already had the Ace of Wands, which was the inspiration, the passion to do something, right? And now it's like all the pieces are falling into place. So, okay, have the inspiration. Well, if I want that inspiration, then I have to plant a seed, right? I know what the inspiration is. That's the seed. Now I have to plant it and do something with it. Practical, tangible, real life. And that's what this feels like. So if you guys have taken that step and you've been waiting for the offer to come in based off, your initial action that you've taken, this may very well be the week that happens. For some of you, that's already happened and now you're acting on that. But who's the Emperor? The Emperor is the boss. He's the father figure. He's the guy in charge, and he has to be, right? He's the Emperor. It's his empire. If he doesn't take charge, who will? He's not known for doing things by committee. He's not going to ask everyone every time there's, oh, they look like they're about to attack us. What should we do? He doesn't do that. He makes the decision. He's like, all right, we're going to do this. And he has to, because he keeps everyone safe. He's in charge. He brings order to the empire. The downside of the Emperor is that he can be very stubborn. Think about it. Whatever we know, the knowledge base that we have, it's limited, right? I don't care who you are, Einstein, whoever, you cannot know everything in the world. So you're not going to know every action that could be taken, every direction that you could take this in. And so as much as one of the best things that you can do when you're in charge or taking control of a situation is knowing who to ask for help. Is there another way we can do this? Considering other people's options. So I kind of feel like sometimes that's what the Emperor says, because there's one or two messages with the Emperor. One is get up and take control of this situation. You have to be like the Emperor, which is control it, bring order to this situation. Or it's about knowing when to step back and saying, okay, well, maybe I need some more information here, not to be so controlling. Consider other ways of doing things. But the way this is coming up, I said this to Capricorn as well. I think it was them that got the Knight of Cups. That depending on the cards that are around this, this doesn't have to be a very positive thing. If all you are is lost in your dreams, then nothing's going to come off that. And then it is wake up. Stop living a fantasy. Stop living in an illusion. You need to get real. There's no time for illusions now. But that's not here. This all feels like it's powering each other. You have pentacles, you have cups, you have wands, and you have swords. It's a balance. And the only major arcana card that's coming in is the Emperor, who keeps control of everything. He brings order to everything. And I always say this, the fours, and the Emperor is number 4. The fours to me are when nothing really moves. So I think he brings that kind of stability to the situation. So I feel like you're being asked to do that, especially with this, when the physical of what we're going to do with this. What are you going to do with this? Whether that's a new job, because the Ace of Pentacles can indicate a new kind of work, way to earn money, a new relationship, anything that offers you security and stability. But it's the first step. It's laying that foundation. This is slow energy. It's earth energy. Earth energy is solid. It's the most longest lasting energy, but why? Because it's not a kind of flash in the pan. It builds slowly. It's every brick in the foundation. Now, one of the reasons I kind of get the sense that for some people it's a show of strength. I don't know if that makes sense in whatever situation it is, but it's almost as if you have to have a show of strength, that people will know that I can't mess with this person. Because what comes, they still will. But you have, with the Emperor coming up here, you have the Five of Wands coming up as a future energy. Now, the Five of Wands is sat underneath the Knight of Cups. So with this could very well be someone saying to you, oh, hey, Aquarius, you're just a dreamer. Why are you doing this again? You know, what is the point of this? Or, you know, stop being such an airhead or whatever. And that's why I think it's so important for the Emperor here. This is a projection in the future. I will say this. Some of you may be overcompensating with the Emperor. It's where, you know, you think, okay, well, a good defense is a good offense, right? Or I'm just going to go on the offensive and just because you're anticipating this. For some of you, you're anticipating that, you know, your friends or your family. I mean, this doesn't have to be people that we hate. It can be competition in the workplace. But, you know, it's usually healthy competition. And this is where other people might tell us, you know, whatever, they're doing it because they love us, but it's still none of their business. You know how I feel about unsolicited advice, and tell me what to do. It's that kind of energy. It is that very much that kind of energy. But I feel like you're anticipating it. You have the dream. You have the kind of plans put in place to go forward. You've made a decision. Now it's like you're rolling it out. But you just be aware of that. Some of you might come on too strong as the Emperor because you're expecting this. But it's the Five of Wands. It's not the Five of Swords. A kind of, thanks, but I don't need that. Or I've got this, you know, we'll do with that. The other kind of thing that this can be, if this is competition for your business, for your work, even competing for someone's affections, it could be that. How do you win that? But first of all, the card that comes off the Five of Wands is the Six of Wands, right? That's by saying, look at what I can do. You know, the things that you can do, they speak for themselves. That's recognition for what you've done. But your advice is the Ace of Swords. Speak your truth. Speak your truth. It's all well and good taking the practical steps, doing whatever. But it kind of feels like whatever you're up to, there are people that need to know. There are people that need to know. And, you know, I feel like this could go so many different ways, but it all comes from the same place. The same place is a show of power against whatever the competition is or whoever these people are. The fives are the agents of chaos, as I call them. They feel very intense and they get the situation moving. Just want to say this. Some of you might be creating this kind of chaos, creating this situation where it works sometimes. You know, you're going to get the best. Say you're an employer because that's the boss. Or this might be happening in your workplace. Your boss does this, where, you know, they kind of say, okay, well, you know, if it's a sales team, whoever gets first to get 20 sales or whatever on this, you're going to get X, Y, and Z. So it's almost like the boss does this to create something new, to generate this plan, to keep it going. That's one example, but, you know, that's how the energy is kind of playing out. This could be by design. It doesn't have to be, you know, something nefarious or difficult, but it feels like it's about taking things in a different direction that you are ready for. You've been ready for it for a while. And it could be a dream come true if you play your cards correctly, but do you know what I mean? But that comes from speaking your truth. Speaking your truth. The Ace of Swords, it's victory. It's a victory card, and it's victory through clarity and the truth. Saying it how it is. And it comes from this. Whatever time you spent here deliberating on what option to take, which direction to go in, now it's time to come forward with that. And it's given you a change in your perspective as well, Aquarius. But have a look at that. I mean, Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. This is fresh energy, new energy coming in, new cycles beginning. I love it. Be a dreamer about it. I've been called a dreamer more times than you can know all my life. This is that. If this is what you've been going for, because remember, that's the romantic, right? It is. I mean, it's not just castles in the air. So if those of you that think that this feels too good to be true, because it can be with the Knight of Cups sometimes. He doesn't have the goods to back it up. He just knows how he feels. He's not lying. He feels that way, but where's the plan? Okay, great, we're going to be together, but we're in two different countries. How the hell is that going to work? It can be that kind of a energy, right? So if this is that situation that you found something you love, there are practical steps now being taken to make this happen. Someone taking control of the situation. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and I don't know why other people would have a say. I mean, I think, you know what? I just want to say this, just going off on my little soapbox for a moment. But yeah, people need to mind their own business. It's amazing how involved people get in other people's shit, or have an opinion, or they feel so entitled to have a say on stuff. And it's like, no one cares. Like, no one cares, really. And that's kind of what this feels like. So there is a new cycle that begins here. There's a true love here, and you've not known that's this, right? You've not known how to progress this. You've not known how to go further on this. Feels like it happens this week. So we have exchanging gifts coming up. And this is very much like the Six of Pentacles. In that this is that law of giving and receiving. Now, remember, he can be a little bit heavy-handed. So this is about working together, not against each other. If you give, you can't always be the giver. I know a lot of people are more comfortable giving than they are receiving. And that, again, you'd have to be careful if it's a power dynamic. This is the advice I always give people. If someone gives you something and they're giving it purely, just accept it as that. If they later come back and say, oh, well, you have to do this for me now because I gave you that, or I did this for you. And it's like, I didn't ask you for it. You did it off your own accord. I don't have to repay it. That's not a gift, right? Exchanging gifts. Exchanging gifts mean, what is a gift? You don't expect, oh, I gave you a gift, now I expect a gift back. That's not how it works. I'll tell you something interesting that happened to me this week, actually. Someone sent me a message because I did the lives last week. And this is how people wrap their gifts, right? So they say to you, so what this person said to me is, oh, I love you. I really love you. I love your videos. But if you continue to do lives, all your subscribers are going to leave, and I'm going to leave as well. Lots of love. And, and I was like, it made me laugh. It actually did. It cracked me up. But why? Because that's not love. If you love me, then you love me for whatever I do, whichever deck I use, whatever backing I use, whatever I do, right? That's love. That is love. And you can love people that you don't want to be in their life. You still have love for them, right? But it just made me laugh. And that's how people wrap their gifts. That's not love. That's not unconditional. If it's a gift, you just give it. But you must also be able to receive like that. And I oftentimes think that's the point of this.